Good morning. Today new topic is ultrasonic beams. So in this chapter we will discuss what are ultrasonic beams, how they are produced, what are the production, how they can be detected, and then where they can be utilized application. So this part topic will be discussed in maybe two parts. Let us see how much we are going to cover it up in today. So first of all, basically ultrasonic beams. What are these? We know that in wave motion there are two kind of waves. One is called as longitudinal wave, other is called as transverse waves. Transverse wave. In longitudinal waves there are formation of crest and trough compression and rarefactions are being formed, and like this way compression and rarefactions are being formed, while in transverse wave crest and transform is formed. Compression means waves with larger density, and rarefaction means with a weak density. So the denser region is called compression, weaker region is called rarefaction. So the longitudinal wave travels in the form of rarefaction and compressions, form the compression and rarefaction in the space, while transverse wave they form the crest and trough inside the waves. So examples are light waves and sound waves. So these are the two different examples of the wave motion. Now we are going to concentrate of sound waves. Sound waves are the sound beams which can be audible or non-audible to human being. So audible and non-audible. Audible frequencies are those which can be easily heard by human being, that is between 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. So these frequency, between these range we can human being can easily heard it out. But non-audibles are divided up into two categories. One is of less than 20 hertz, and other is more than 20 kilohertz. So what are these beams are called? So less than 20 hertz they are called as the infrasonic beams, infrasonic, and more than 20 kilohertz they are called as the ultrasonic beams, ultrasonic beams. Now we are going to this is about the details of the ultrasonic beams, how they are being there. Now what are the characteristics which are being possessed by the ultrasonic beams? First characteristics says that they had the frequency greater than the 20 kilohertz. Since E is equal to h mu, since they have the high frequency, so energy will be very high. So when they have very high energy, so second characteristics is that they will have got very energetic, very high energy is being there. Now we can correlate this. Mu is equal to c by lambda. Frequency is very high, so wavelength will be very small, very small. So that means they have got very small wavelength. Third part is they have got small wavelength, small wavelength. So this is the third characteristic. So this beam, this is the third characteristics of the beam. So they have got the smaller wavelength. Now another important characteristics is, let us see. Now they travel in a homogeneous medium and possess a constant velocity. For example, a medium is water, so they will travel with constant velocity. If anything coming out to be there, they strike here and get reflected back. They cannot pass through it as it is. Similarly, if a material is there, so they can pass as it is. But if inside the material hole is coming out to be there, so this is hole, so this is the matter. So this is the matter inside water, and this is the hole inside the material. So material, so inside the material, if the hole is going to be there, so they get reflected from the hole, so they cannot be and go to the other side. Same is the case here. So that means they travel in the homogeneous medium through which they get passed out. For example, the material is there which has got uniform material, so they can pass as it is from the same medium. So that means they travel with constant velocity in the homogeneous medium, homogeneous medium. So that is the fourth characteristics. And next is through which medium they get passed. They heat up the medium, through which they pass, they pass. And next is sixth is they obeys laws of reflection. Laws of reflection means Snell's law. Means at what angle the incident, same angle the reflection is going to be there. Angle of I is equal to angle R. So that is the law of reflection, they are being obeyed by the sound waves. Means they strike at the surface, at whatever the angle they strike, they reflected back at the same angle. So that is another effect characteristics they are being avoided. Um, Now, next is their velocity of the ultrasonic waves increases with this. Now, for ultrasonic beams more than 20 kilohertz, so 40, 60, 80 kilohertz. So, since their frequency is high, so they will have the high velocities. So, normally sound waves have the velocity is 332 meter per second. Now, their velocity depend upon the material and how they are going to produce. According to that, we can produce very high frequency ultrasonic beams. Now, then they produce physical and chemical effects when they passes through the liquid. Now, when they physical and chemical effects are being produced, physical and chemical effects are produced when they passes through the liquid. Effect are produced. So produced when they passes through the liquid. So that is the important characteristics. So they can be used by animals and birds like bat. Animals and birds. Birds like a bat. And last is they have many modes of vibration. So these are the important characteristics which are being possessed by the ultrasonic beams. So that is the main part which has been covered up, that we are going to study up in this chapter. So basically ultrasonic beams are the part of the sound waves, which are very high frequency, that means more than 20 kilohertz, which cannot be listened to the cannot be heard by the human being, but some of the animals can able to heard it out. So these frequency have the typical characteristics that first of all they have, you can see this one energetic and the small wavelength, then they travel with the constant velocity, with lots of reflection, and many more physical and chemical effects are being produced, and large number of modes of vibrations are there. So this is the first part which has been covered up, that is the what are ultrasonic and what are their properties. Now let us discuss the production of the ultrasonic waves. So basically there are two methods of producing. One is called as magnetostriction oscillator, and friction oscillator, and second is called as piezoelectric oscillator. Now what is magnetostriction oscillator? So let us study about this one. So this is an oscillator. Now before I study this diagram, let me study about the magnetostriction effect. So what is this effect? This effect states that when a rod of ferromagnetic material is kept under the influence of a magnetic field, it happens there occurs a change in the dimensions of the material. Either it get contracted or it get expanded. So the contraction and expansion depend upon the current which you are going to supply it out. So depend upon if the frequency increases, it's expanded. If frequency decreases, it get contracted. So depend upon the amount of current, at what rate the current is being flowing. So the change in so the rod get magnetized or demagnetized. All this since the current is being passed, ferromagnetic material is there. So as the current is passed, the rod get magnetized or demagnetized. Once the rod get magnetized, what happens, it will compress the material, and when it demagnetized, it will compress. So this magnetization and demagnetization are going to be there. So as the frequency of the applied frequency matches with the frequency of the frequency of the rod, so it undergoes a phenomena called as a resonance. So once it undergoes resonance, it emits a waves of particular frequency, that is called as ultrasonic waves. So this is the basic effect which has been there. So that means magnetostriction effect is going to be followed over in the magnetostriction oscillator, where the rod is undergoing change in dimension under the influence of the alternating current. So that means this oscillator consists of a rod having two coils. One is called as C2, another is C1. C1 is connected with the variable capacitor called as C, that is C. So this variable capacitor is to adjust the frequency of the rest of the circuit. Is a electronic valve, supply is there, rheostat, and then the emitter is there, then the battery is supplied, and the clamp is there to fit this rod. Now as soon as the current is being applied, what happens? So it will not get magnetized and demagnetized accordingly. So by changing the value of the capacitor, so the frequency is going to be changed. So at value of particular frequency, so the value of C is so adjusted that emit waves from this end of the rods, that is the ultrasonic waves, that is the 200. So basically it depends on the thickness of the rod and the modulus of the elasticity of the material, and again the length of the rod, which are going to define how the frequency is being produced. So which is calculated by formula 1 by 2L under root of y upon rho, where L is called as the length of the rod, y is called as the Young's modulus of the elasticity of the material, and rho is the density of the material. If you put all this value, for example, if I take a nickel rod of 10 centimeter and it produces ultrasonic beams of 25,000 hertz. So nickel rod of this will produce this one. So to increase the frequency, what should we do? The length of the rod should be decreased, but it cannot be decreased beyond a certain limit. So high ultrasonic frequency cannot be produced by this method, but the energy associated with this beam is very large, as the area of vibrating surface is very large. So low frequency but high energetic infrasonic waves are produced by this method. So this is one of the best method for producing high energetic ultrasonic waves, and the limit is that we cannot reduce the length of this rod to a certain extent. So high frequency ultrasonic cannot be produced. Very high frequency ultrasonic beams cannot be produced by this method. So this method we have used a magnetic material, and magnetic clamp is there, but the material could be of various category. It could be nickel, invar or alloy of nickel and iron, and then monal alloy, which consists of nickel, copper, iron and silicon manganese, and then we have got nickel, copper, iron and silicon manganese, which have got certain percentage of this and make it an alloy. Then the two coils are being there, then the variable capacitor is there. So these are the different parts of them is used out. So this method is useful for producing the frequency of very high frequencies. So next we will discuss the second method, piezoelectric method, and then how to detect the ultrasonic beams, and then we will discuss how they are going to be used in various applications. That we will discuss in the next part.